Thanks so much for joining me on the Slice of Construction podcast. How are you today?
I'm well. Thanks for having me. Happy Friday.
Absolutely. Excited to have you. Let's dive right in. So, first
Absolutely.
off, let's assume there's people listening that maybe haven't. These are the best people to reach, by the way, the ones that maybe haven't heard of you yet. Let's start off with the company and then we'll lead into your background. But uh, someone runs into you, they've never heard of Versatile before. What do you tell them?
Well, I actually start with why I'm doing it, so it might give you a little bit of my background in the process as well. But I would normally start by saying I disappoint parents really well, and that kind of like is a good trait for an entrepreneur, I guess. But my father was a general contractor, and instead of going to become a superintendent, I said I smile too much, by the way. I ended up at Intel, which was fine with my mom. She didn't like the whole bootstrap hardware-enabled SaaS company in construction that came later, however. But kidding aside, and me aside, Versatile was founded because of a fatal accident on my brother's job site, and he lost a worker that day, and it just didn't make sense to me that there lines of business. And I did grow up in construction. I know the chaos of the job site, and it still didn't make sense to me that you don't know if, everyone that you care about in your workplace will come home safe. And by the way, on time to actually say goodnight to their kids, maybe even have dinner, God forbids, take them to soccer, right? Uh, and to me, construction is like manufacturing. Yes, it's the most fragmented and extremely kind of like volatile and unstructured and crazy and non-predictable as you could imagine, but still you're trying to put something in place, so the resemblance to manufacturing still exists, yet no control over this chaotic manufacturing process. So my question that night was, what if we could get millions of data points out of a job site, make sense out of them, and put that information as sheer power in the hands of builders? First and foremost, the people who make decisions every morning, every minute on a job site. But beyond that, you can create better predictability, even at the level of estimating. You can create a safer environment, and you can create better alliance with your schedule and honestly with your budget. So I asked, what if we could get all that data out? My addition that night at least was, can we make it seamless? Can we do that without interrupting any of the existing workflows, without asking people to change for us? Because I know how change management works on a job site. It doesn't exist. Um, and if so, will that power be useful? And the answer was yes. And one thing led to another after that conversation, to create a device that sits on the hook of the crane, literally replacing the hook. It's a fully standardized, kind of like you don't need to worry about any of the load bearing elements. It's all Crosby, by the way. Uh, but that thing actually measures. So it can tell you what it is that you're lifting, what process it's relating to, and literally put your work in place at the level of understanding how many seconds it took you. And I can quote one of my favorite kind of like superintendents on a few PMs that say that if we save them, I don't know, 28 minutes a day just by understanding how they're doing, and if it takes you more than $1,000 a minute to put work in place, then minutes matter. And minutes accumulate into days and weeks and months. And that's what I'm excited about. And they go home safe.
You know what I always loved about the construction space versus some other industries, though,
Hmm.
is some other industries. I mean, there's budgets in construction, right? And there's things that have to
Of
take
course.
place, but more often than not, when a project needs to get done, like and obviously you hope that the safety measures are followed and everything, right? But in
Yeah.
most cases it is,
Yeah.
but they figure out a way to get it done. They might have to
Agree.
work, people might have to work a little bit longer, but
Hmm.
and they're still there. I mean, and I know that's not ideal for certain people to work extra, but they are getting compensated
Exactly.
extra at least, right?
True.
But it's just so interesting to me that like there's not many spaces. That's why I think it's also similar to because manufacturing is also something. If you need to get something done, you throw more
You'll get it
resources
done.
at it, right? You throw more money,
Exactly.
you throw more people, and that was always something that really. But the stakes are a lot higher in construction and manufacturing than some of these other spaces where
Great.
if you also move faster, a lot more other stuff can happen, right? So,
Great.
um, What gets you? Obviously, I can tell you love this. Within, I mean, you're smiling when you're explaining what you do. Not many people do that.
Hmm.
Um,
Really.
well, you hope they do. On this show, they do, thankfully, right? Because
Good.
we only want people that love what they do. Um, but when you, what gets you like out of bed every morning to say, I love this and I want to do this,
Hmm.
um, and to continue coming up with like new things to drive the business forward.
Ah, wow, it's the same vision that got me, started. I think it's more than getting out of bed, right? Like the craziness of starting a company, building something that never existed before. I still remember the first device getting on the first crane. It was like magic, right? I was like, really? Did we actually build it? And then just like watching the data flow, I think I just sat there for hours just watching it. And it was just data points, right? Like there's nothing exciting about that, only it was very exciting to me. So I think it's still the same excitement that says we're making a difference. And first and foremost, we're making that difference to what I believe is an underserved population on this industry, which is the superintendents themselves. They are overlooked so many times. So I get up in the morning to make a difference for them and to make their environment safer and more controllable. So and it's fun to watch their response to this. And by the way, to watch them teach me what the next kind of like step of the business should be, because what they're asking for is exactly what we should be doing. So it's almost easy.
Can you talk me through a little bit more about how it works, like from like you set it up to being put into action?
Sure, it's about 4 seconds, so really, really long. Uh, uh, you need a certified rigger to actually put this on the hook, so you don't need us at all. Like we ship a very big box because that device on the ground looks very bulky, but in the air it just disappears and in everything else. It's just a hook, right? You literally hook it up on your original hook, which I timed at 4 seconds. I have videos to prove it. And that's it. Technically, the data is already flowing. Roughly the next morning, though, you'll see some things the same day, but the real interesting kind of like meat comes in 5 a.m. the next morning when you'll actually see your own production. How long did it take? What did I do yesterday? Why did we set 8 instead of 18? Why did we kind of like, are we ahead or behind our plan to pour on Friday? All of that is like literally just in front of you, let alone the building itself. Like the team accidentally created a visualization of the actual construction going up, and this is based on the same kind of like seconds of measuring everything. They did this for internal QA, but we turned it around into a tool in the hands of our customers super fast. But that's it in a nutshell. Like those 4 seconds, getting it out of the box, clipping it on the hook, and you're live. Once every 2 weeks or so, please change the battery or we'll have a problem there. But that's normally not an issue. That's all we ask our customers to do. The rest is all theirs.
How long did you say for the battery?
About 2 weeks.
Okay, cool. That's not bad at all. I mean, can my Apple Watch do more than a day?
Exactly.
That'd be nice, right?
Exactly.
Super interesting. Um, when you look at kind of the future of the business, what kind of excites you most?
That's an easy one. Like with the advancements, like when we started, saying data and AI was, not cool to say the least. And most people just looked at me like a crazy person, especially for construction. Seriously, like so many people told me that I'm crazy, that we'll never raise a single dime. Like, I don't know, 109 million later, maybe they were wrong about that. But AI has reached a tipping point where our influence on estimating, on bidding, on actually improving the win rate on bidding is probably the next thing that excites me. Our measurements can really be used for estimators to know what is and isn't possible. So you could bid with confidence and you actually know what your strong suits are and what you need to work on, and even what team to throw on a specific problem, just based on kind of like location, kind of like team performance. It's not, thankfully, not individual, right? Like we don't really know what people themselves are doing, but we could see how the overall team has done, which is why, by the way, training facilities love us too. Like for iron workers and others, just makes sense to see how your team is doing. That's the most exciting thing for me right now in terms of the future.
So if you had to break into like any buckets, like the who you work with, right? You don't have to say names of companies, but like what
Mhm.
does that look like?
The largest GCs in North America. Some of the logos are on our website or have been kind of like public about it before. So I'm actually excited because we're gonna launch a very, very cool video with Gilbane
Oh,
literally
cool.
in the new year. So watch out for that. It's beautiful and it tells the story of two job sites. One is concrete, one is steel, and just the similarities and how both teams are benefiting from the partnership with us. Um, Turner has been very public about it. Alice Dawn, there's quite a few that have stated their usage, but many, many, many others have been using us and have been scaling with us. So it's an amazing journey because people can see through true passion to change the world rather than the attempt to solve a mediocre problem that maybe you don't care about. Asserting control and measurements into the most kind of like complicated and fragmented process on earth that happens to be building the environment we all live and work in, that's big enough to pay attention, and I'm gladly people are.
If any of those other people that haven't said anything that are using it today, go and show some love.
Yes,
Go
please.
put a video up. It can be a quick reaction video, right? Little selfie, whatever it is. But if you want to do
I
it,
agree.
go for it.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
when you look at kind of looking back, right, from the start of the company,
Yeah.
or just moments like pivotal moments in your career. It doesn't even have to be at Versatile, but ideally, if it is, what's something that makes you laugh now, but maybe wanted to cry when it happened?
Oh God, so many. Um, from not being accepted to an accelerator really early on, bootstrap days, like I had every reason in the world to believe that we will get in, and then they send you the rejection email. Those are never fun. Um, However, I ended up with what I believe is a better accelerator, and kind of like the rest is history. So you could definitely laugh at it now. Failed a massive failure of a demo with what is now one of our largest accounts. Looked like the end of the world at the time, right? Like I was definitely crying for at least 5 minutes before pulling myself together, then hitting milestones with the same account literally on the same date of when we failed that first demo. It's quite staggering to look at that. And fundraising, which I can probably spend an hour talking just about that. For the record, I love fundraising and I think everyone should have fun with it. It's like fundraising has fun in it. So like I'm probably going to post something about that later, before the end of the year.
I'll say this about fundraising. You work on your business all the time. You know the ins and outs of it. But when you're having conversations with investors, you're at your very best in knowing about the company
Mhm.
because you're how often in a short span of time are you talking about every single it opens your eyes up to a lot of things that even you sometimes miss, right? It's like,
Mhm.
oh, interesting. Or it opens your eyes up to some really bad questions too that may have no like it all you can learn a lot. The investor can learn a lot about you. You can also learn a lot about the investor by the questions that they ask, right?
Totally, totally agree. But I,
Yeah.
I call upon founders wherever they are to change the mindset before anything else. This is not a learning experience. Like your fundraising is an important function in your business, and you're offering an opportunity. So if you actually plan and run a proper process, respectful, transparent, high velocity process, then yes, you are going to have fun. You're also going to be very successful. And it starts with that mindset that says, I'm presenting an opportunity. And I know why it's an opportunity. I believe in this opportunity. And I honestly don't care if you do or you don't. I just need to know. Like it's a yes or a no. If it's a yes, let's keep the conversation going. If it's a no, spare my time. Like, but the wishy-washy that I see sometimes and founders raising for 6 or 9 months, winning, you're not totally in your business. You're not totally fundraising. Those are the situations that I kind of like. I'm almost puzzled about, and I preach a better way whenever I get a chance to speak to founders.
Yeah, you'll meet some founders that kind of go through an endless like you're always raising in some way, right? The conversations, but it seems like there's sometimes that rounds go on for maybe far too long.
Hmm.
Um, and at some point you start to wonder, our efforts may be better just solely focusing on the biz dev to go and bring in those customers that will expand the runway as a result. I,
Yeah.
I think it's something though, like especially younger entrepreneurs, they see kind of they look up to these idols. They see them raising money. They see them whether they're making money or not. They're going to raise more money and keep it going and keep it going. Right? They hear
Yeah.
all the almost failure success stories, and
Yes.
then they think that's kind of the norm when they start a company. But it's things change now, right? Like
Yeah.
I personally believe if Uber was started today, they wouldn't make it
Possibly. Yeah.
because
That's very
like
different environment. Yeah.
the mindset is different. Of like, here's the endless check to show me results, right?
Hmm.
Anyway,
I I
we could
agree.
talk about
I
that.
will say. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what I said. I'll just say one other thing about this. Like, focus on building a great business, not on what you think is attractive to investors, because you don't even know what investors are thinking, and the wind and taste changes almost on a daily basis. But if your business is solid, if you're actually focused on building it, you will raise. But if you're constantly fundraising instead of actually building a business, that's where the problems begin. And in my very humble opinion, and I'm not the most knowledgeable possibly. That's my belief.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. Um, I want to shift focus for a second
Sure.
to kind of a new segment I've been starting to do with people. It's called Show Them Some Love. So, outside of
Mhm.
Versatile, what are some companies in this kind of contact construction space that you are a fan of, even whether you've used them or you've just been a fan from afar?
Hmm. Okay, I'll. My problem with that is that I'll end up offending so many that I might not mention. I'll start by saying I think everyone is doing a great job, whether I've used them or whether I just came across them for a second on the floor of a trade show or whatever. Like, it's incredible to see what's actually out there right now. I'll shout out some of the kind of like the businesses that they have nothing to do with me but I've been following the founders for a while. So Trunk Tools, for example, I've been watching Sarah since forever.
Sarah rocks.
She's amazing, isn't she? And Dusty Robotics, Document Crunch. Those are definitely founders that I've been watching super closely
Stockman
over
Crunch
the
is
last
Josh,
couple.
right?
Yes,
Yep, we've had him on
and
too.
Dusty Robotics is Tessa. If you haven't had her on yet, you should. Uh,
Let's get her on.
I'll
She has
make the
not been on.
introduction.
Thank
Tessa
you.
Lau is incredible. You should definitely have her on this show.
I'm sold.
So
You're not the type of person that just says stuff, so I'm sold. Uh,
good.
let's do it. As we kind of wrap up
Hmm.
2024, which is unbelievable. Where did the year go? But
Seriously.
and head into 2025. What are you excited about in terms of the company for what's next?
I'll start with I'm excited for construction. Let's start with
Hmm.
that. I think we'll see a good year all around from a business perspective, and I think the need for solutions will become more evident than ever before. Also for us specifically, as I mentioned before, it's the data that I'm excited about. We have definitely hit the tipping point in terms of just how much extremely structured production kind of like relevant data we have, and we're very unique from that perspective because no one else knows how long things take on a job site. Literally, no one else. And with all the limitations, I'm really excited about what that unlocks next year on the business side for our customers, especially the ones that have been working with us for a while and have a ton of data, and the ones that will join and can catch up relatively fast. It's funny because I've been preaching that you want to catch up fast, just put a device literally on every crane right now, kind of like flatten the curve a little bit in terms of how much behind you might be over the competition, and then start benefiting from what this data will be able to produce for you, either right now on our product or literally within months. One of the things I'm excited about, if you see just the rate of releases where it comes to data and AI today, if you're actually teaching the models on proprietary data that isn't available kind of like publicly, it learns better and faster and produces better results. And this is very specific for construction, right? And it comes from the field itself. So we could release something every 3 to 6 months, while in the past you would have looked at the data and saying, well, we might benefit in 5 to 7 years. So the 5 to 7 years are now 3, 6, maybe 9 months. So that's what gets me excited for 2025 for sure, and
I
beyond.
love it. We'll have to have you come back on too because this is fun,
Yes,
uh,
we'd love
and
to.
I'm sure we'll run into each other. Are you also in Florida? You're in Florida, right?
Yes, I am. I moved
Boca
from
Boca
California.
Raton.
True. Yeah.
Yep. I moved. I'm in St. Pete from Boston
Oh,
originally.
cool.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we
It's
should totally catch up.
yeah, yeah. We're in our nice season. It's starting to get really nice here, right? A little chilly, but
Yes,
chilly for
I
us
love
is
it.
like people don't realize it's still nice.
I just came back from New York. Trust me, this isn't chilly.
Oh, yeah. I have to go to Boston in a few weeks, and I'm like, I gotta have to. I'm bald too. I need to wear the full hat and everything else like that. So, um,
Fun.
thank you so much for doing this. You're so fun, and I'm super excited for you and your business. And let's stay in touch.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This was a pleasure.